Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, is where I was born and raised, and it's a coastal city. The trinity of sand, sun, and sea is right here. Well, not always sand. Sometimes it's rocks, but you get the idea. And today, I thought you and I can come explore the city's waterfront promenade. Welcome to the Mediterranean Sea. Here, birdie, 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 birdie. Oh, there she goes. I am starting from the southernmost tip of Beirut's coast, Ramlet al-Bayda, or white sand. We'll actually have to see if the sand is white or it's just a myth. This is the only municipal beach in Beirut. Not all beaches in Lebanon are accessible to public for free, but this is one of them. We have to go down to the beach. We have to find a way to go down to the beach, and that's the mission. Well, the gate is locked, but you know what they say, when a door closes, you can jump up the ramp here. And luckily, I can fit right in. And that's how you do it. Success. Honestly, it's been a long time since I've been to this beach. Even though I live by the sea, I don't usually come to the sea. Although, because Beijing is not a coastal city, I really missed the sea when I was away. And you know what they say, you don't appreciate something until it's lost. But now I'm gonna appreciate all this. Whee! There's something very soothing about the waves crashing onto the shore. Oof. It's just this sense of calmness just washes over you. Over the past few days, it's been raining in Beirut and the storm is coming. You can see the dark clouds hovering. But then the prettiest sight is that here, it's blue skies and sun. Here comes the rain. One of the things that you have to do when you come to this beach is to gaze at the planes. All you need to do is to look up, and there they are. Check this out. Because the airport is right there, and that's one of the prettiest things, is that when you're landing in Beirut, this is what you see. How amazing is that? No idea what this structure is, but cool bird. I found a sea turtle. These look like good swings. Ooh, whee, whee, whee. After careful analysis of the sand on the white sand beach, I can safely say that it is not white. It's golden, platinum almost, but not white. You heard it here first. The sand of the white sand beach is not white. And now I have a lot of sand on my hand. Ugh. It's good that the skies have cleared. Hopefully no rain. Crisis averted. Although it is getting a bit too hot. I overestimated Beijing's winter. Beijing is always on my mind. I overestimated Beirut's winter. It really isn't that cold. Just how pretty is this? Convince me this is not pretty. Go ahead. We were right there at that beach, and now we're starting a new section of the Beirut seaside promenade. Here is called Avenue de Charles de Gaulle, and Charles de Gaulle is a French general and president, and This road is named after him, which is not something unusual in Beirut for streets to be named either in French or after French people. And that's because Lebanon is an ex-colony of France. We were under the French mandate from after the First World War up until November 22nd, 1943, when Lebanon got its independence. And because of the French heritage, the French language is a semi-official language in Lebanon, and hence the street's name. But for the entirety of the Lebanese population, this side of the promenade is called Raoucheh. And Raoucheh is really hard to translate because there is no consensus over its meaning. There are a few hypotheses out there. One of them is that it comes from the Arabic word ras, which means head. Another theory is that Raoucheh is a bastardization of the French word roche, which means rock, and that's because of these. This is Sakhrat al-Raoucheh, or Pigeon's rocks, and these are perhaps the most known landmarks in Beirut. And these beauties right here are natural formations thought to have been formed after an earthquake struck Lebanon way back in time. You can actually see them while in the plane landing in Beirut. And these are on the bucket list of every traveler to Lebanon, every Beiruti, every Lebanese. We all come and take pictures with them. Or you can hire a boat that would take you on a ride under them. Or if you have seasickness or don't want to spend too much money, you can sit at one of these cliffside cafes to enjoy an unobstructed view of this beauty. Or you can go down this path and get closer to them, which is what we're doing. My, oh my, oh my. Look at this. Look at this. These rocks are 60 to 70 meters, and ever since I was a kid, I heard stories of people climbing all the way up and then diving all the way down. To me, this is just so unimaginable because this is beyond Olympic standards. This is beyond what the brain of someone who cannot swim can fathom. I also heard as a kid that a lot of lovelorn men would come here and then they would commit suicide. I don't know the veracity of these stories, but that's what I heard as a kid. Lebanon is the heart of the East, and Raoucheh is the heart of Lebanon. And they're not wrong, these rocks do rock. Say goodbye to the rocks, guys, and let's head that way closer to the water and off this hill. And this is the Ferris wheel of Beirut. It's been there since the 1966. It's clunky, it's creaky, it's squeaky, and it takes a lot of courage to get on it, but it is still standing. The Ferris wheel of Beirut, it's an institution. After Avenue de Charles de Gaulle, or before, depending on how you're walking, you have Avenue de Paris, or Paris Avenue, which for the Lebanese is known as Manara. And Manara in Arabic means lighthouse. Why, you ask, it's called Manara? Well, because of this little fella right here in red and white. And in Beirut, we don't just have one lighthouse, we have two lighthouses. And this is the old lighthouse in black and white. It was in operation from 1957 to 2003 when it was decommissioned because of a residential building that was constructed and blocked its view, hence the new one. And fun fact about this lighthouse is that it was originally in gray tiles, and it wasn't until 2018 that it had this red and white coating. Shukran. Shukran. لا 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 شكرا شكرا. شكرا. I am being followed by a gypsy who wants to read my palm, which I'm not gonna do. She just said that a lot of people are jealous of me, which is not news. Facts are facts. We have a long walk ahead of us, so I think we should put the pedal to the metal. The Manara has a rocky beach, unlike Ramlet al-Baida, which has a sandy beach. So you see a lot of fishermen. Apparently there are fish, or they would go out in their boats all the way to the sea. Check this guy out, swimming in winter. Winter in Beirut is very mild. It rains a lot, but the temperatures are very much doable. Like, it doesn't go down below 10 degrees. And so, yeah, a lot of warmth, a lot of sunshine. That's Beirut. People sunbathing in January. Places like these are very important for people in Beirut and in Lebanon because there aren't enough free public spaces in the country. Much of the coastline is privatized, and so it was taken over by private developers to build fancy projects or resorts that much of the general population cannot access even before the current financial and economic situation. And so here, people, especially those from low-income families, get to come, be in the public arena, be in the outdoors, enjoy the sea, have a breath of fresh air without having to pay money. And that is extremely important in a country, in a city where you don't have a lot of options not to pay money. We just crossed the entirety of the Manara and now heading north because Beirut's coastline is not over yet. A hop and a skip away from the Manara promenade is this. A yacht club. Yes, because despite all the poverty in Lebanon, there is a minority of ultra-rich people, and the ultra-rich people need their yachts. Do you smell it? Money's in the air. This one has the Chinese character Bao on it. Although the name sounds Japanese, Takara. It is 3:15 and we have a decision to make. I either go that way, which is the new waterfront of Beirut, basically just a modernized version of Manara, or I can take a shortcut through the alleyways that are adjacent to the seaside and then reach our final destination, which I really want to visit before sunset. New waterfront, shortcut. I'm gonna go with a shortcut. But here's a very general view of the new waterfront. I'll leave it to your imagination. Guys, we're going this way. Everything you see to my right is part of downtown Beirut.
This area has been a commercial and economic center for as long as Lebanon existed due to its proximity to the port. In the 1920s, when the country was founded under the French Mandate, downtown Beirut was redesigned on the image of Parisian neighborhoods with beautiful squares and avenues to increase the competitiveness of the city and enable moving goods from and to the port. In the following decades, this spot flourished and became the beating heart of the city. People came here to do business, shop for daily needs, take the bus to other cities, or catch a movie. Then, in 1975, the Civil War began. And the very area that welcomed everyone became the epicenter of a bloody storm that would forever change the country. The streets, buildings, and archaeological sites of downtown Beirut sustained unmeasurable damage. But when a fragile peace agreement was reached in the 1990s, a reconstruction plan for downtown Beirut was drummed up. And as beautiful as it looks today, with its cobblestone streets, shiny facades, and architecture that mixes old and new, it's mostly a ghost town, because downtown Beirut 2.0 is by and large a development project that priced out everyone but the wealthy.
So the last spot that I'm taking you to is the port of Beirut. It's not something that tourists should see, but a couple of years ago, a tragic accident happened at the port.
نحن عم نعطيكم هلا الشي لايف
على النيوز
عن جد. ما تفوت فوت يا ماما هيك يا ماما.
Oh my god oh my god تضرب oh my god لا
سكر لي ازاز بليز.
انا اختي سلمى نط
what شو هاد bro
2,750 tons of ammonium nitrates, which is a chemical that is used as a fertilizer, but also to make explosives. They were badly stored, and a fire, which to this day we don't know if it was intentional or coincidence, set these massive tons on fire, which led to a humongous explosion, one of the biggest non-nuclear explosions in history that killed 218 people, some are still missing, injured thousands, left 330,000 people homeless, and obliterated many neighborhoods. The impact was similar to a 3.3 magnitude earthquake. It could be heard all the way to Cyprus, which is another country. I've been waiting for 2 years, since August 4, 2022, to come here and see the damage. See with my eyes what had happened. Look at that building. It has no glass. Look at that building. No glass. Look at this building. No glass. This building is being renovated. These are the remnants from the explosion. Even after 2 years, the cleanup has not concluded. In the far back, you could see these mountains of metals. This is a statue that was erected using the metal that was twisted from the force of the explosion. And there, that little structure, that was for graves. Lebanon, in the midst of a very vicious economic crisis, lost much of the very basic food that feeds its people. On this wall is written some of the names of the victims with their images. This long, long line of names. My government did this. I was waiting to speak to my mom that night, and then I heard the news, and then I saw the video, and I picked up the phone. My mom was shaken. Her voice was shaken. She was in tears. My mom had lived through the Civil War, and not a single time during my upbringing for 23 years in Lebanon before I left did I see her cry. And imagine what is the feeling that you would have as someone who is on the other side of the continent, hearing your mom cry, hearing that your dad got injured because of a glass shrapnel. And this is just my family. Imagine all the families, all the stories, all the agony that happened. I have not dealt with it, and I don't know how to can deal with it. I don't know how we can pretend it didn't happen. I mean, wasn't COVID enough? Wasn't COVID enough? Wasn't the economic situation as bad as it was enough? Then, to add salt to injury, this happens? They say that the Lebanese people are resilient. You knock them down and then they get back up. And I sure hope so. I hope that these wounds would heal one day, very soon, because look at the destruction. It is still standing. This is still a daily reminder for people about what happened. This is a reminder of the government of what happened. But they're not listening. The trauma that people have lived, the agony that people had suffered, the devastation, the destruction, the fear, the tears, the death. What do you do with all of that? How can you reconcile with that when not a single person has been blamed? Not a single question has been answered. August 4, 2020. This is January 2023. Not one person in jail. I don't want to end this video on a sour note, and so I hope you guys enjoyed this walk along Beirut's coastline. I hope you enjoyed the palm trees, the beach, the sea, the views, the people, the way I did. We have walked 13.85 kilometers, and we traced Beirut's coastline right here. This was all from me for this week. I will see you next time. 再见. Let me show you Beirut during sunset.